This is Watch Your Style. My name's Eric. Today I have a very special guest for you, straight from New York City, the Rolex Enforcer. Well, first off, I want to say a very special thanks to the Rolex Enforcer for joining us down here in Miami. And I also want to ask you, is it the first time you've ever been to Miami, or how do you like it so far?
First time. It's beautiful out here. The traffic's a little bit bad because of Ultra, but I mean, I knew that coming. But yeah, Miami's amazing. In the nighttime, it really transforms the city. It's beautiful.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you down here, you know. We wanted to talk a little bit about kind of like, see, this question that I've had going in my head already for a couple of weeks, and it's ever since you guys, you being Rolex Enforcer, Fake Watchbuster, there's a couple more guys out there too, have been out there just hammering these guys. Do you feel like there's been some type of like a slowdown in the whole fake watch thing, as far as the posers, at least the high profile posers?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the beginning when I first started busting, I mean, celebrities would just post their fake watches with no remorse. It was going on pretty rampantly. And now it's really slowed down. You see some of these young guys posting fake watches, I give them a pass. But as far as the celebrities, the last big celebrity I caught was Tyrese, and that was over a year ago. So they're learning, bro. They know Instagram's not safe.
Yeah, man. I saw the other day that a post that had a Young Thug with like a fake Schumacher on.
Fake Schumacher.
That's a pretty bold move there. If you're gonna have a fake Schumacher, you know.
Yeah. Shout out to Fake Watchbuster. Yeah, he busted. They had sent me that, and I just sat on it for a couple of days because work was crazy, and then it got pretty big. And the thing is, in the back, the movement was completely different, and instead of saying Audemars Piguet, it said Audemars Piguet.
You know what?
With a Q.
I saw that post, and actually, I really haven't been following all that for a little while, and I was kind of like curious the other day, and I just couldn't believe that it blatantly just had a total different name. Like they didn't even spell it right. Like I was just like, unbelievable.
Different movement, different stamping. And then the thing is, at first he said that he bought it from a jeweler out of New York. I'm not gonna say the jeweler. I don't give free shout outs. You know what I'm saying? But he said he bought it from a jeweler. Then he said he got it from some sort of Prince of Dubai. He said the prince's name. And he had like 5 different excuses. It was funny as hell, man. It was funny.
Sometimes these things happen, and I mean, I would say that the best thing to say is just like they always say, honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
If he got busted, he would have just avoided a bunch of shit by just saying, hey, you know what? I don't know anything about watches. I don't care. It was a gift, or I bought it, or whatever, and just move on, He
posted like 5 or 6 like rebuttals, and that actually makes it worse.
Absolutely.
All you have to do, be smart. Take the picture down, and nobody knows the wiser. Keep it moving. But yeah, it was.
I got it's funny that you said, because there's a friend of a friend. He's an older guy that I know, and he actually has a really low end. Really low-end Canal Street rose gold Hublot. Okay, and the thing about this guy is that he wears it, and he just goes out, and like a girl will be like, "That's a really nice watch you have there." He's like, "No, but it's a fake one. I paid $20 for it." Like, that's one thing about him. He wears it, but like he blatantly just tells everybody that it's fake. He doesn't care. So I mean, I guess it's a little better, He's not trying to fool people, as opposed to like a Young Thug trying to sit there and give a Prince of Dubai excuses. But I remember that one time I was like, this is a pretty bold character here. He's got this fake watch on, and he just almost has like a shirt that says, "I have a fake watch on" with it, So, anyways, another thing. I was thinking the other day, and it was like it's pissing me off because at least with what I have to do. I buy, sell, and trade on a daily basis, so I'm constantly checking watches. The loop is my best friend. The jeweler's loop is my best friend. And maybe you can shine some light in there, or maybe agree or disagree. But like, I feel like definitely the low end, even the high end fakes are getting a lot more better. They're getting way better in the machining process and the finishes. And then I'm also it's kind of harder for me every day because the real deal watches are every day coming off the assembly line with a little bit less quality control. I mean, what do you feel about that?
I think the fakes are definitely getting better. Like they have these new noob. I forgot what the APs, they come out with noob series 1, 2, whatever, and the ones now they're pretty spot on. Like even the movement, they got correct stampings on the back.
Yeah,
they solved the wide base of hands. So it's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're getting pretty real, but those are very high end.
What about the depth of the date?
It's pretty accurate.
And is it a little bit more in it, or is it still making love to the outer ring like before?
No, it's because the fake they're using a Swiss ETA, and it's a modular movement like the AP has.
Got it.
So the depth of the date is really good, and it's not too close to the tack.
One thing that I always use, on a day-to-day work basis is I always loop the dials, and I use that to see the finish of the dial, to see exactly how the finish is and the quality. And that's one of the things that's bothering me, because not too long ago I saw an AP 39mm chrono that had actually a drip on one of the markers. The markers were painted on the outside and it had like a drip. And I said, this can't be,
Yeah, it's happening a lot. Like what me and you were discussing before. It's like we look at, let's say this is a rubber-clad AP and Royal Oak Offshore, and mine is a Navy. And if you can see, the date on this one is much easier to see than on mine, and they're both F serial, both totally legit, obviously. But it's just like little things that I don't know. Like I feel like every day the high-end fakers, they're putting more and more work into getting it better, but a lot of these high-end manufacturers, they've become very complacent.
Yeah, one of the most important things that I use with when I check watches is it's almost like the lighthouse beacon for me is consistency. One of the most consistent watches in the watch market period is Rolex. Every time I loop the hands of a Rolex, the dial of a Rolex, the way that the machining is done, on the cuts of the bezel, it's always the same tooling, the same thing, and that helps me a lot. You see, brands kind of like Hublot and other brands, that's what starts happening. The consistency is not there. They maybe use different production factories, or who knows what it is, but that also makes it a lot harder for us when they're not consistent. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, but the thing also with Hublot is that when they first started, they were just slapping off the shelf ETAs into their big banks, and now they're putting in-house movements. So the quality has definitely changed. But I mean, the movement on the new Hublot is better, but I feel like on some of the finishing, it's I don't know, it's falling. It's falling down a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of, for the exception of Rolex, I kind of have been seeing that all through the board in most of the brands. It's just the finish and some of the consistencies are not, so consistent like they used to be. Rolex is that one brand that every time I loop a movement or I loop a dial, it's exactly the same. And for us that we're trying to always, especially for me that I buy, sell, and trade on a daily basis, that's what helps me always catch it. The problem is what we were saying is that with those little bit of slip-ups in quality control, the guys that are making the replicas are on the other side. They're constantly trying to make it better and sharper and better and sharper. And it's getting scary.
And we're, like you said, with Rolex, it's easier for them to get it better because Rolex is very consistent. They keep it the same. Like a lot of people complain, Rolex doesn't innovate. Rolex doesn't do this, doesn't do that. Honest truth, they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
They don't have to do it. And people complain, but the Yachtmaster 2, the Sky Dweller, these are new movements that are out on the market, and a movement takes anywhere between 10 and 12 years to develop. It's not like they can just slap a movement and, it's completely in-house.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I mean, I would love to see Rolex have a serious complication like they used to back in the 50s.
I know.
But they were outsourcing movements back then.
Yeah.
But if they could get a nice I don't know, like a moon phase going on.
Oh my god, man, that would
that would be crazy.
Yeah. Which one watch to me is like anytime that I get one at the store, I look at it completely. I almost have like a full blown conference with my watchmaker because they're almost very close. Is the diver from the original to the fake? The divers are scary close.
What, the AP diver?
The AP diver is scary close.
Yeah. The only way I can tell the difference is I have to magnify the date because the only thing that gives that watch off is the date. Is the font is a little bit different.
Yeah, the print.
But like the new divers, they're spot on.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting crazier because now some of these watches, the actual movements, they're cloning them.
Yeah.
So they've already perfected the case. So then now they spend this amount of research and development to clone the movement.
Yeah,
and you really gotta dissect it.
They put in these clear case backs, and if you look, the stampings on the rotors, they're very close, they're very good, and the rest, I mean, as long as people see a couple of Swiss swirls, a couple of markings, they don't really pay mind to it, you know. But yeah, they're getting a lot better.
Yeah, another watch that to me is also, I mean, I haven't, you know, I've never been bit by one. I can always bust it, but for the regular, you know, guy on the street or a regular consumer that doesn't have a trustworthy jeweler is Panerai. Some of the Panerais are they're very good.
Yeah, and I tend to steer away from that brand because I can't honestly. I'm not good at differentiating, and the Panerai is such a simple watch, you know, and most of them have ETA movements that, I mean, somebody with enough time in their hand, they could clone it perfectly.
Yeah, man. I mean, something that like I maybe had said last time in the last video that I did. One thing that I like to use is I never consider a watch fake by just one thing. It has to be a combination of things. If you look closely, there's always going to be a combination of things. It's never going to be just one thing. One thing might trigger me to start looking deeper and harder, and you know, really raise up the magnification and start looking better. But like, for example, the Panerais, the way that the center pin right in the middle, the center pin where the needles are, I always look at where it finishes and also the texture and finish of that center pin. And if it's off, then I really start looking further and scrutinizing it further. You know, it's those little things I guess you pick up over the years.
You know, another watch that the fakers have gotten better is on the GMT. You know, the old GMTs, the 1675s, they used to have the red hand on the bottom, right? So then when Rolex, they switched to the 16710, and now the current 11670, the GMT hand stack is on top of the hour hand, when before it was below the hour hand.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of these guys, these guys making these fakes are getting good with the vintage ones because they'll take a dial, they'll microwave the dial, they'll microwave the bezel. They have the correct correct GMT hand placement, and a lot of these guys are selling them as real vintage. And you know, if you don't know what you're looking for, you have to be very careful. You'll get caught. You get caught out there.
You know, the vintage world is a whole nother world.
Scary place.
I've seen, you know, I talk a lot about these things with my watchmaker because he's an old man and he worked for Rolex for 35 years. So he lived all those old vintage watches, and he tells me, he goes, Eric, they have reproduction bezels, you know, aftermarket bezels for these, you know, vintage like Paul Newman style Daytonas. He's like that you cannot tell the difference. He's like, you would not be able to tell the difference. And you know, I guess it's good and bad if you have one that's beat up and you kind of want to freshen it up, but it's bad if you're going to buy one because something like that will make the difference of $4,000 or $5,000. So, you know, with the vintage stuff, you really have to know what you're doing. Really, really have to know what you're buying.
You know, the good thing about vintage is if you can get your hand on a real one is that, you know, the vintage, that was like the golden age of the Rolex era where the Rolex would actually encourage watchmakers to fix their watches. They used to hand out presses and case opening tools. And there's an abundance of spare original parts if you can find them.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is that now Rolex is going the Patek and AP way, where everything's in house. So all those old watchmakers, they're like hiding their original Rolex equipment because Rolex is sending them letters saying that they need to give back the equipment to service these watches. So, but it's tough. Things have changed a lot.
You know, one watch that they just can't seem to get right. The Daytona. I've never seen a Daytona that even looks remotely close to a real one.
Yeah, I mean, even the good ones, the sub-dial spacing is still off.
Yeah,
it's still off. Yeah.
The first thing that I do anytime that I get a Daytona, period, when it comes into the store, is push the chrono button. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
You can always feel it on a genuine one. It's like a very tight, you know, like a perfect, you know, feel. The fake one, it feels like the button's gonna spit out, you know, and shoot out right after. But that's one of the things I always do right off the bat.
Another thing with the modern Daytonas is as most people don't know, you know, the markers are made out of gold, and they're usually white gold, and then they have lume in the middle. And for some reason, the fakers, they can't get the roundness of the markers correct. It's always flat.
Yeah.
So like if to the naked eye, somebody that knows will spot this from a mile away. But if a jeweler that doesn't know, the first thing he has to do, he has to loop the markers, and if it's not round, then you know right off the bat it's fake, and they've had a very hard time correcting that.
All right, let me ask you another question because it just, you know, dawned on me real quick. Because you know what, like some people obviously they don't have enough experience, and that's okay. You know, we all started somewhere, and you kind of go getting some knowledge, and you got to run with what you have as knowledge. But Do you consider a watch that has an aftermarket dial a fake watch?
No, I don't. I mean, it's some people they think it's like something unholy to change a dial, and I look at it the way it's this. Listen, this watch, if I pay $22,000, $23,000 for it, I'm allowed to do whatever I want with my watch. It's like if I buy a condo and I don't like the bathroom, I can't upgrade the bathroom because
Absolutely.
it's wrong.
Yeah, no, I understand, man. It's just, some people are very, very harsh on that stuff, man. Look, I had a client that wanted to buy a Daytona for his wife. Obviously, he can definitely buy her the platinum one, but he said, look, she doesn't want me to buy her the platinum one. She says he's going to use it daily. She's going to beat it up. He saw one of the ones that we had done with a conversion, and I was in shock. He literally bought a brand new Daytona with the sticker still on the case, and I had the platinum conversion done for it aftermarket, and he was ecstatic, super happy. Kept the original dial, original bezel, moved on.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I'll be honest with you. If I would be able to spot that watch that is not platinum because the color of the metal is different.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Obviously the weight too. But to the naked eye, most people would be fooled. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. But special thanks for from the whole CRM team having you down here in Miami. We hope to see you more often here. We could do more collab videos like this, and they got to keep us under control because us guys, we'll talk about watches for 4 hours here.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, man, special thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for having me.
So stay tuned for more videos on watches along with the Rolex Enforcer. If you like this video, don't forget to like and share. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. My name is Eric. Watch your style.